Hello, welcome to Alchemy Animation. It is the 11th part of a series called The Invisible Princess is Bored Again Today. Let's begin. Suddenly Caesar grabbed her in his arm. She asked, "Why did you suddenly did this?" He replied, "I can't stand next to you because you are holding the parasol." He said, "You are beautiful even when you are not carrying this sort of thing. So I will be the one who does all the pretty things today." After hearing this, her face became totally red. She was thinking that what kind of obstinacy is this? She was saying, "Give it back, people are looking at us." Caesar said, "Who cares? Let them stare." During her second lifetime, Helena Feresca's first date begins with quite a commotion. And then with a blushy face she said, "Let's just close the parasol. I would not carry it around. We are good now, right?" He took it from her hand and said no. In a surprised state she asked, "What? But why not?" While looking at her he replied, "Because it's beautiful." While touching her hair she said, "Don't argue with me using my words." And then he was holding the parasol and grabbed her hand very tightly and asked, "Shall we go?" After a while both of them enter into the cafe. Helena was thinking that there is very elegant and gentle sounds of ensemble music. The table where I can't think of anything to criticize, but there is one thing, why are we the only people in this place? Caesar was looking at her and asked, "What's wrong, Helena? You're not looking happy. Is this place not as nice as you expected?" She said, "No, of course not. I just find it a little odd. This is supposed to be a famous place, but there is no one else in here." With a smile Caesar said, "Is it so? I like it because it's empty. Only the two of us are here." After hearing this Helena relaxed a bit and thinking that, "Sure, if you like it then I like it too." But then suddenly she was crying in her mind while thinking that, "It is so quiet that it's awkward. I need to say something, anything." She was drinking the tea and thinking about it again and again. She was thinking that, what do people usually talk about? Her body started to tremble, and saying to herself, "Hurry up and think of something. What kind of conversation would a normal couple have?" And then suddenly she got an idea. She was thinking, "That's right, family. Let's talk about that." And then with a smile she said, "I noticed that you don't resemble your father too much. Do you take after your mother?" After hearing this he started to look at the tea and said, "Not really much like my mother either. What I hear is I resemble Emperor Grey, the first emperor." Helena asked, "Do you mean Erez Grey?" That thought crossed my mind too. He closed his eyes and said, "But I'm not really fond of him." Helena asked, "But why?" He replied, "The empire was more important to him than its people." "I disagree with that. If I had to choose between you and the empire, I should choose you without hesitation." And then he laughed and said, "You look so touched that it's making me feel a little awkward." He moved his hand forward and started to touch her hand and said, "There is no one here. It makes me want to do as I wish." She snatched her hand back and said, "You rascal. Anyway, did Emperor and the Empress not get along?" Caesar replied, "Well, they were not on bad terms, but I hear he occupied himself with state affairs pretty much all the time." Helena was remembering the past memories, and thinking that, yes, Grey was a bit hard-headed. The waiter came towards them and said, "Please excuse me, here is your dessert." Helena looked towards the dessert, and thinking that, what is this delicious-looking cake? And then after a while they came out of the restaurant. Helena was saying that, "Oh, I'm so full, it feels like my belly is about to burst." Caesar said, "You sure do have a sweet tooth, Helena. I'm impressed that you eat so well." She replied just so heavily that I could not stop eating. Caesar said, "It makes me happy that you enjoyed it so much." Helena was glancing at him and wondering that, am I the only one enjoying the date? Caesar said we need to head that way for the opera. Helena was thinking that. Feels like the conversation was pretty one-sided too. I will try something different at the opera house. But then suddenly they heard the voice of someone who is shouting for help. Both of them noticed it, and Caesar grabbed her in his arm to protect her. He said, "Come over here, Helena." With a blushy face she closed her eyes. She was thinking that I don't really need to be protected. He knows that, right? On the corner 2 guys were talking to a woman. The women were saying, "Let me go." I said, "Let go." The man grabbed her arm and said, "Stop protesting. I know you like it." When a girl is strutting down the alleys wearing something like that, it means she's looking for men to mess around with. The woman shouted, "Don't touch me. I don't want this." The man asked, "You don't want it? That sounds like you are asking me to touch you more." Helena was looking at them and said, "Why that piece of trash?" But then suddenly that woman slapped him. Helena was surprised after seeing it. The man said, "How dare you?" With a crying face the woman shouted, "I said no, you are disgusting, so don't touch me." The men become angry and said, "I was going easy on you because of your pretty face. This is how you repay me." And then he was about to do something bad. However, Helena came in front of them, holding the umbrella as a sword, and said, "For crying out loud, stop being so annoying." The man said, "I don't know which nobleman's daughter you are. Just do your business and go." Helena said, "No thanks." The man shouted, "What? You must be out of your mind. Are you only going to come to your sense after the 2 of you get roughed up?" Helena tightened her grip on the umbrella and said, "Roughed up? It sounds good, so you will be the one getting roughed up, not me." She pointed the umbrella towards them. Helena said, "Here is a warning. There is no point trying to run in the middle of this fight because I will chase you down until the end." And then the man was about to attack her and said, "You obviously have had a sheltered life, so I was gonna go easy on you, but there goes your chance." He was about to hit her by a punch, however without much effort she dodged it. She hit him on his back again. She take her position and said, "Next, you are next, come." The man was about to attack her and he grabbed her clothes. The man was smiling. Helena asked, "Why are you smiling? You are totally defenseless down here." And then she kicked him on his testicles. The man was shouting too much due to pain, and both of them were laying on the ground unconscious. With a smile Helena said, "Great." The woman said, "Excuse me, thank you for the help, I was so scared. How can I ever repay you?" Helena said, "There is nothing to repay. I only did my duty, so don't worry about it." While smiling, Helena was thinking that, to be honest, it was nice to use this opportunity to blow off some steam. I mean, there are so many things that are bothering me these days. The Empress and Margrave Brandt are being annoying. They're constantly keeping me in check. But so many people want me to teach them swordsmanship. I am even trying things I should never done before, like going on a date, and I was ready to pull my hair out. She laughed and said, "All right, you should head home before those pieces of trash get back up." One of the men said, "You ventures, you will pay for this next time," and then he took his friend and run away. While looking at him, Helena said, "I don't think anyone who said that to me ever come back for a second time." The woman was going away while saying, Thank you so much." With a smile Helena said, "I feel so proud of myself." Caesar asked, "Do you feel better?" With a bright face she said, "Yes." Caesar said, "If you are happy, that makes me happy as well. But there is something I need to tell you and ask, what is it?" He said, "We are late for the opera." And then after hearing this there was a silence. Helena became flustered. She was thinking that I was having so much fun beating up those guys that I forgot. But then she was trying to calm herself and saying there is no time to be panic. She grabbed his hand and said, "Now run. Both of them rushed towards the opera, but then they saw a door in which it was written that the entry is closed. After seeing it, Caesar was laughing and Helena was feeling bad. She said, "This can't be, we can't go inside." Caesar said, "They will probably let us in during the intermission, so do you want to do that?" Helena said, "We missed the first half, so what's the point of getting in then? This is a popular opera among couples, so I really wanted you to see it." Caesar was thinking about it and asked, "Who told you that?" She replied, "The Red Knight trainees." Caesar said, "Is that so? I don't think the story is all that romantic though." Helena said, "You are right about the story, but the music?" But then she realized something and said, "Wait a minute, Caesar, do you know about the opera?" He replied, "I do. I was invited to the premiere." After hearing this, Helena was shocked. She said, "You have already seen it, why did not you tell me?" He replied, "How could I when you were so excited?" After hearing this, her face becomes totally red. She shouted, "What the heck, I put all this effort in for no reason." And since this is how things have turned out, we will move right on to the next item, forward march. Caesar was continuously laughing and said, "It's like someone who is going to war." In a serious tone she replied, "This is no different from war for me, so cut the chit-chat and follow me." He replied, "Yes, sword master." At the evening both of them were walking near the church. Helena said, "I was told we should see the nighttime scenery at the great church of Monte." Caesar replied, "The sunset is magnificent too." She looked towards him and said, "You're right, beautiful isn't it?" Caesar said, "Yes, incredibly beautiful." Then in a sad tone Helena said, "I feel like I ruined everything because I strayed from the plan. I wanted to go on an ordinary date like the others." Caesar said, "Helena, what I like is you. Whether it's an ordinary date or not, all I need is you, Helena." After hearing this her face became totally red. She was feeling a bit happy and said, "I like you too." She said, "Because I have never done this sort of thing before. I don't know what to do or if I'm even doing things the right way." He put his hand on her shoulder and said, "Do you really need to worry about that? I just said whatever makes you smile is enough for me. I don't care whatever it is that you want." And then he smiled and said, "Even if you asked me to bring an end to this world, I should do it without a second thought." Helena said, "You should give that sort of thing a second thought. And I don't want the end of the world or anything like that, okay?" Caesar said, "My girlfriend has such simple desires, even though her boyfriend is the crown prince." She laughed and said, "Come to think of it, that was a little too simple. What about you, Caesar? What can I do for you that would make you happy?" Caesar was thinking about it, and said, "Let's see," and then he said, "Okay, you have to kiss me." She was looking at him and said, "What?" In a sad tone Caesar said, "What's with the reaction? That's a bit mean, don't you think?" She closed her eyes and thinking about. She was thinking that the people are watching us covertly and I have to kiss him in front of all those people. That's what Caesar wants. She opened her umbrella and said, "Close your eyes." In a childish tone he asked, "You are going to do it?" She replied, "Hurry up and close them." Both of them closed their eyes. She put her hand on his face and started to kiss him while covering the view by an umbrella. And then few days passed. At the mention Helena was saying that, "I don't even want to think about training on a day like this." Agathe said, "You are right, you could collapse from heat stroke if you are not careful." Helena said, "Why did Commander Dalton have to summon me on a day like this? What on earth is on his mind anyway?" The Empress was there, but then suddenly the Empress came and said, "Oh my Lady Helena, it's been a while. How have you been?" Lady Ulrica was also standing beside her. Helena bowed in front of her and said, "Greetings, Your Majesty. I also have not seen you in a while, Lady Ulrica." Helena was looking at Ulrica and thinking that, wow, I wonder what happened with my request. Did she find out anything about the mark I showed her? However, Yulika was not looking at her. The Empress said, Lady Helena, are you here for the swordsmanship lesson today? Helena replied, yes, I'm visiting today because I have business with the Order of the Red Knights. The Empress asked, the Red Knights, so Lord Leonard is the vice commander of the order, isn't he? Here I was getting all excited because I thought you were here regarding the proposal. Helena said, what proposal? The Empress said the Crown Prince proposed to you, did not he? Doesn't that mean that you want the seat of the Crown Princess? Helena was looking at her and thinking that the Emperor is so vicious. Does she really have to say this in front of Yulika, the girl who wants to be the Crown Princess more than anyone else? Helena said, to tell you the truth, he has not proposed to me. The Empress was smiling and said, is that so? How very strange. Crown Prince hesitate about proposing to you. Helena said, Your Majesty, I'm sure His Highness will propose when he's ready. Just like how it's up to me to accept or refuse his proposal. The Empress said, well, you can turn down the marriage. She laughed and said, Lady Helena, perhaps you are deluding yourself. But this is not fun and romance, it's politics. Helena said, Your Majesty, do you really believe this problem solely has to do with politics? In that case you would have asked my father about the marriage, not me. The Empress was feeling a bit angry. She was thinking that such insolence. Helena said, Of course you must have asked me because you have your own thoughts on the matter. I am too young and inexperienced, so I apologize for not being able to comprehend your profound intentions. With a sweaty face the Empress said, We will just have to wait and see if you can still afford to be this relaxed in the future. And then both of them turned away. And the Empress said, Then we shall be off. Enjoy these days of peace and health. Helena said, Thank you, Your Majesty, please take care. And then both of them left. With a sweaty face Helena said, Days of peace and health? What the heck? It's so unsettling. Agat looked towards her and asked, Why do you think the Empress said that? Helena replied, I wonder if she's plotting something again. Let's just go for now, Mr. Dalton must be waiting. She opened the door, however no one is there. She said, What the heck, he's not here. But then suddenly someone entered into the room and shouted, We have a problem. It was a knight, and he said the vice commander, Lord Leonard, has been arrested by the Ivory Knights. After hearing this, Helena became worried for her brother. She said, What? Leonard arrested. After a while she was sitting with few nobles and knight. She said, So to summarize what you said, when the 3 knightly orders were about to disperse after a meeting, they found the Ivory Knights' confidential documents in Leonard's uniform. The knight said, That's correct. No matter how many times I said it's impossible, that bastard Horio would not let it drop. Plus the documents were not anything that important. They were nothing but the Ivory Knights' training schedule. They are picking a fight over information that would have been made public soon anyway. And then suddenly someone opened the door and said, I apologize for being late. It was Caesar. He was totally in sweat. He said, I rushed over here as soon as I heard the news from Joseph. After looking at him, Helena said, Caesar? And that all of them were sitting on the sofa. Caesar asked, How is the situation? Helena's father replied, First of all, Leonard was captured, but it has not been announced as a jersey. Caesar was looking down and said, What a shame, it's all my fault. Helena's father said, No, nothing has happened yet. However, with a sweaty face Helena was thinking that, it's already happened since, you would not get scolded. It is impossible to predict how much of an impact it will have. If the Empress wants to, I might even lose my brother. The knight commander said, Horio joined hands with the Empress. Helena replied, Anyone can see that using unreasonable tactic is a bit strange. Because the document is about a training schedule. Helena was thinking very deeply and said, the Empress must have a hold of their weakness. Leonard's father said to take in the way of framing people. If it turns out not to be the case, Horio will be in even more danger. It would be correct to say that there was some kind of deal with the Empress at the right time. Caesar said then the most important thing in this situation is the Empress' intention. Why did she do such a dirty thing? Helena's father was thinking about it, and then said let's look back at a recent incident in which the Empress suffered a major blow. Suddenly Helena replied it must be subjugation of demonic beasts. She was thinking that the Empress doesn't like this situation that the candidate for crown princess suddenly appears, and the person who saved the border from demon case won the Emperor's favor and become the star of the party. And it's me, I am a threat to her. Helena said, Father, the Empress will ask for a deal soon. If you don't want to lose your son, then say yes. Her father was thinking about it, and then Helena said, I will do anything for my brother. He replied, don't respond to anything, and then he closed his eyes. All of them were shocked, and they said, what? Leonard's father said, if you respond to this cowardly major ones, it would not be helped. Helena shouted, but my brother is in danger. Her father said it's unfair, but it's not a big deal, so it's okay. There are plenty of opportunities to prove his innocence. Caesar said probably one of the servants put the documents in the Duke's court, someone who will confess. And then he said, thank you for coming, Your Majesty. And also Leonard is not that weak. He stood up and said, first of all, it's late, so let's just go in and rest. I will tell you where to rest. After a while Helena was standing alone with his father. He said, Helena. She replied, yes, father. He said, don't worry, just stay still until the job is done. She was too much worried about her brother. He said, how long will I remain mesmerized? Since I decided to stand by His Majesty's side, I should have prepared myself to this extent. He asked, have you forgotten what I said? In a focused and serious face Helena said, no, I remember. Her father said, my children are strong, then tell me, how are you going to move forward? She replied, I will pay you back in double what I got. Her father smiled and said, okay, that's how my daughter should respond. On the next day Helena was sitting on the chair and Agathe was preparing her. Helena was thinking that as my father expected, invitation arrived early in the morning. In the letter she wrote that she and Yulika would like to enjoy refreshments together. Currently, she said, refreshments? You are talking nonsense. Agathe asked, Miss, you are not going, right? Helena looked towards her and said, I have to, because I have to get my brother back. Agathe said, if something happens to you, I will do something big. Helena stood up and said, come here, Agathe. And then she hugged her and said, it will be fine, there is nothing wrong with it. Agathe said, thank you. Helena said, who can touch Feresca? No one. In her mind she was thinking that yes, no one can touch my brother because I will protect him. There was rain going on in the estate. She arrived at the palace. The maid said, Princess Feresca has arrived. The Empress said, please come in, and then she opened the door. The Empress said, welcome, Princess. We have been waiting for you. Helena greeted her and said, greetings, the Empress. The Empress smiled and replied, you don't have to be that formal, so have a seat. She said, originally I wanted to talk to you on the outdoor terrace, but it's been raining since yesterday. So okay then. Do you have any idea why I called for you? Helena said, isn't it about yesterday's incident? The contents of the document were not important, because there is only written about the training schedule of the White Knights. The Empress said, well, whether it is important or not is called Lord Horio to decide. For your information, I think this is a very important issue. With a serious look Helena said, you are talking about the training schedule. The Empress smiled and put her tea back on the table and said, "The Red Knights and the White Knights don't get along well, right? So maybe Leonard have been trying to find out the strengths of the White Knights. They may have stolen military information for the rebellion." Helena was thinking that, a charge of rebellion? In an anger Helena said, "What are you saying? Even people will laugh at this." The Empress said, "Well, that's right. And since you are here, so, Yulika, bring it now." Yulika stood up and were going somewhere. Helena was looking at her and thinking that, what is it? Yulika came back with a paper and said, "Here is it, Mom." Helena was shocked after seeing this because it is the symbol which was given by Helena to her. It was the same symbol about which they were talking about, and Yulika asked to borrow it because she wanted to find out more. At that time Helena replied, "All right, but if you figure something out, will you tell me too?" And now Empress was holding that paper and asked, "Princess, do you remember what this is?" When I deciphered this symbol, I found a very disturbing sentence written on it. Helena asked, "What kind of disturbing sentence is this?" The Empress said, "Greet the king, who will come out soon." That's what written down here on this paper. Helena said, "What are you talking about?" Yulika was trying to hide her face, and she was not making eye contact with Helena. Helena said, "That emblem has nothing to do with me. It was in the body of the demon beast that was defeated in the subjugation." With a tricky smile the Empress said, "Well, it seems the opposite. People don't care about the truth. What they're passionate about is stories. If you just add a little firewood, everyone will be chatting happily. Have not you experienced it before? The day you received a flower crown from the crown prince, even after seeing that flower crown, people thought you were a candidate for crown princess." With a sweaty face Helena was thinking that the Empress is right. If it's something provocative, everyone will talk about it as if it were real, regardless of the facts. She was clenching her clothes and asked, "How long do you think such false propaganda will last?" The Empress said, "Of course it would not last long, right?" Duke Feresca's head was cut off, and as if it did not take a long time. Helena said, "What happens after the truth is revealed unto you? Aren't you even worried about that?" The Empress laughed and said, "Princess, I am not someone who can't even handle something like that." Helena was thinking that it's over. I don't have anything to persuade. In my past life there was no one around me that I could call my brother, nothing to lose over my any weakness to be discovered. That is why they could not use my loved ones hostage to threaten me. I don't even think about it, I regret it. But what would happen if I had not gone out to subdue the demonic beast? But then she realized, no, if I had not entrusted that task to Yulika, then nothing have gone wrong. The Empress said, "I would give you a chance to choose, Princess. Would you lose your brother or would you like to accept my deal?" Helena asked, "What do you want?" After hearing this with a devil look, the Empress said, "It's very simple. You can give up your position as Crown Princess. And to prevent unpleasant rumors from spreading in the future, refrain from private meetings with the Crown Prince. I don't think it's a bad deal at this rate." Helena instantly said, "I will accept that offer. Give me my brother back." She came outside of the room and Yulika was following her and said, "Princess." Helena looked towards her in anger. Yulika was want to say something. Helena said, "Explain how this all happened." Yulika said, "I'm really sorry about this." In an anger Helena said, "Sorry? You are just trying to pretend to be nice now." Yulika said, "Well, it's not like that. I just want to tell you a little more about that pattern. The text on the mark is the language of demons, and when demons mention a king, there's only one that they mean. It's the evil dragon, Krozek, the creature that was sealed 500 years ago." After hearing this, Helena shouted, "So you knew that's what it meant, and even then you told it to the Empress. Ulrica said, Lady Helena, don't you think you're vastly underestimating politics? Kind of weighty burden, it's much better, it doesn't matter what she must do or against her conscience, you needs to be able to do it all. Helena said, so do you believe your actions were justified? What you're trying to say? Ulrica said, well, I just wanted to tell you that I also had no choice. Ulrica was thinking that, I want to explain myself to Lady Helena and tell her that the Empress and I had a meeting with that person the other day. I want to admit that I was frightened after meeting that mysterious man. It felt as though things were spiraling out of control, however I don't have the courage. Helena came close to Lady Ulrica and said, you have to protect the Crown Prince until I get him back. On the next day Helena was standing outside in the balcony. A god came towards her and said, my lady, you will catch a cold at this rate. Leonard will be here soon, so please wait inside. She covered her by a blanket. Helena said, but I feel like I need to get some fresh air to clear my head. A god asked, my lady, what happens now? Are you not allowed inside the Imperial Palace anymore? Helena replied, no, I am, as the trainee's instructor. A god asked, what about His Highness, can you see him? Helena said, I don't think so. I'm sure Caesar also heard all about how I made a deal with the Empress. I wonder what he's doing right now. Is he feeling anguished because he was not able to protect us? She was totally lost on her thoughts. But this suddenly a god said, my lady, Lord Leonard has arrived. Helena suddenly came down and standing in front of him. After seeing her with a smile, Leonard said, Helena, how gaunt you have gotten? Helena replied, I could say the same to you. Helena came close to him and asked, how are you? Are you injured anywhere? Leonard replied, no, I'm fine. I am even returning to the Order of the Knights tomorrow. In a surprised state, Helena asked, so soon? Leonard replied, they have confirmed that it was some misunderstanding, so they must have had to sort this out quickly. That's probably why they summoned me right away. Since I had a lot of time because I could not go anywhere, he took out a paper and said, I did a bit of digging on Commander for you. Helena said, I heard you were confined, so how did you do it? He replied, my commander and I worked together, he helped me out. Helena was thinking that they all did so much for us. Her father said, you all had a difficult time, so let's continue our discussion inside. Both of them said, yes, father, and then they came inside and were sitting on the sofas. His father asked, did you find anything useful? He replied, yes, father. We confirmed that Commander Horio joined forces with the Empress. Helena said, House Horio runs a business, don't they? Leonard replied, yes, a large one at that. They have a shipping business as well as several large merchant ships. His father said, why did a family of such stature feel the need to join forces with the Empress? They already have plenty of money and honor. Leonard said, then this is not cooperation, father. The Empress must have gotten hold of his weakness. His father said, weakness you say? Then I suppose I should better look into their connections, such as their clients and workers. Leonard asked, does workers have access to such information? Helena said, yes, I'm sure they do. Ships are isolated vessels at sea. Whatever occurs aboard a ship, even the laborers will inevitably find out. With a smile, her father said, yes, let's investigate everything, even the matters that seem trivial. Which means this will take a while, so brace yourselves. And also remember this as well. Both of you are of House Feresca, so, not get angry, we get even. Let's each of us carry out our duties until the investigation yields result. Leonard said, yes, father, we will do that. Helena said, leave it to us, father. That's all for today's video. If you want to know what happened next, then like and subscribe. Alchemy Animation YouTube channel.